All right, we're gonna go ahead and pull this flywheel on this Bayou, and what I did, I've got the recoil cup here, and I took the bolt, I'm gonna run that back in there, and that's just to protect that crankshaft from any damage that the puller is gonna, could potentially do on this, on the crank. So run this puller in here. I guess I'll show you that from the side view quick. This is what the puller looks like here. Motion Pro makes these, Tusk, several other, K&L makes some. They are pretty easy to get a hold of, but they're very model specific. So make sure you're getting the one for your machine. All right, now what you do is run a socket on there, spin this all the way down, and it'll just pull it off just like that. So you can leave the puller on there to pull everything up, or you can take the puller off. Oh, you know what? You got to take the puller off because of that bolt in behind there. Guess we won't get very far with that. So if it's just on there as tight as that one was, you'd never damage that crank pulling it like that. But sometimes you got to get pretty rough on them to get them off. You've got a Woodruff key on there, and that holds that flywheel in position. And then you've got your starter gear here. This is a one-way bearing on the back of this flywheel. And I'll show you here how it works. It's only going to spin one way. It's going to spin this way, and then the other way it's just going to stop. So this is the starter drive. Remember, I took that gear off of here. That was the sprocket that runs this larger sprocket here. So that's your flywheel there, and then here is your cam chain right there. And then your other guide, you pull out from the bottom there. That's a 10 millimeter. And that removes this other guide here. Got your cam chain. To remove that, you've got to pull that Phillips. We're going to use this impact driver again. This is a Matco tool. I use it every day to disassemble these motors, and generally you don't need to use them to assemble motors. A lot of times if it's a nut or a bolt like that, you would put that on there with a regular screwdriver, but then you'd Loctite it. So here's your chain here. You want to make sure it is in great shape. Make sure there's no kinks. A lot of times what happens, you'll get a small kink in it, say like that there, and when you're wiggling it around, it just doesn't come out. That kink's always there. You want to replace that chain. So in those chains, they do wear just like any other chain does, and they do have to be replaced ever so often. So got your shift drum here. We've got an Allen that we've got to remove this one with. You could a lot of times leave this on there. When you pull that crankcase apart, this bearing will come out with this shift drum. But just in case it doesn't come out, I don't want that this mechanism here to hold us up. So I'm just going to remove that. And there's a spring in here that sits down in there. All right, these don't have to be removed to split that case. All these 8 millimeters do, but we're going to go ahead and flip